welcome back to Nails Before Films. After reviewing 10 X-Men movies, the link for those are in the description, I'm finally reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine. For those who have watched my review for the 2 Deadpool movies, you'll know that I'm a huge DP fan. I actually brought my Deadpool's head to see the movie, and I bought this Wolverine popcorn bucket. I made them kiss after watching the movie because it was that good. I absolutely love the film. It's a fun nostalgia fest that bids farewell to Fox's superhero movies. Granted, Deadpool and Wolverine is not perfect. There are problems with the writing, but it's absolutely entertaining, and we finally get Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine with Ryan Reynolds' comic book accurate Deadpool. I will be getting into spoilers, so if you don't want to know who cameos in this film, come back after you've finished the movie. First, let's go over my problems with Deadpool and Wolverine. The fundamental story doesn't make sense. So DP travels to the MCU using Cable's time-traveling device and wants to become an Avenger. After being reasonably rejected, he becomes depressed, so much so that he and Vanessa break up. He then retires from being Deadpool until TVA, an organization watching over timelines, asks him to join the MCU. He learns that his timeline is dying due to the death of Logan, the anchor being of his timeline. To save his timeline, he brings back a Wolverine from another universe to replace Logan, but TVA sends both of them to the void. They have to work together to escape and save DP's timeline. I have questions from the get-go. First of all, why does DP want to be an Avenger? He didn't even want to be an X-Men in the last movie, and it's weird that he's so beat up over it. Does he really think the Avengers will accept a random ugly dude? I thought his attempt to join the Avengers was a joke. He just wanted in because Fox belongs to Disney now, and it'd be dope to be an MCU Avenger. But no, he's super serious about it, and it's weird that a character like Deadpool gets so hung up over being rejected by a team of superheroes. It's established that DP doesn't want to be a hero from the first movie, so why does this bother him so much to the point that he and Vanessa break up? Besides, DP already has his own team, X-Force, and he has people who care about him, so I don't understand why he feels like he isn't important. You saved a kid and brought down an organization that tortured mutant kids. You have friends who care about you, and you have a girlfriend who loves you despite you almost getting her killed. How are you not important? The character development of DP is weak. The movie could have just started with his birthday party and his timeline dying. The story would still play out the same. He still has to find Wolverine and save his timeline. The parts about joining the Avengers and breaking up with Vanessa are completely unnecessary. My next problem is why doesn't DP think of going back in time to save Logan? He has no problem doing that in the last movie, so you think that his logical solution would be time traveling. Can the TVA device do that? I know that they don't want to undo Logan, which is the right decision. I would be pissed if they mess with the ending of that movie. However, there must be a better way to bring in the Wolverine from another universe. Also, I think it's weird how DP's first thought is to find another Wolverine. Wouldn't destroying the Time Ripper be more logical? I feel like a solution for this problem would be for DP to find the new Wolverine in the void. He then comes up with the idea of replacing Logan with him. You can still have the cool Wolverine montage in the void, but DP's actions would make more sense this way. The next thing I don't like that much about Deadpool and Wolverine is the villains. The villains are very MCU-ish. We have an arrogant corporate man who thinks he knows best, and an overpowered woman who abuses her power. The TVA guy is supposed to be comedic, but I just find him to be annoying. I feel like it'd be better if he's a serious, no-nonsense businessman. The villains from the first 2 Deadpool movies are much more serious, and it's a great contrast to how silly and funny DP is. The TVA guy's humor is just very MCU, very tame. It doesn't really fit with DP's edginess. I don't really like Cassandra either. She's supposed to be Professor X's evil sister who's been in the void since birth. She's a sadistic maniac, but not the charming kind. The movie tries to make her somewhat sympathetic, but she just comes off as a narcissistic asshole. The villain from the first movie is a sadistic asshole too, but the movie doesn't try to redeem him or justify his action in any way. He's just a terrible person, and that's part of his charm. Like I said in my Deadpool review, you don't need a complicated villain for a simple film like Deadpool. Well, Cassandra isn't exactly complicated. The movie tries to redeem her near the middle. Wolverine tells her that if Charles had known about her, he would do anything to find her. He then spares her, which leads to Cassandra agreeing to help them escape the void with Marvel sparkles. At that point, I was like, that's kinda nice. Wolverine does something heroic. Cassandra isn't so bad after all. However, they immediately undo all of that. After learning that the TVA guy wants her dead, she travels to DP's timeline to erase all timelines. Then what's the freaking point of redeeming her earlier? She turns out to be worse than before. And they don't even need to do that either. Why not have her join DP and Wolverine? She could be pissed off about the TVA guy for breaking their deal, so she decides to help them find out where the Time Ripper is and how to destroy it. After that, she can just go back to the void. I don't understand why they make it seem like she's had a change of heart, only to do the complete opposite minutes later. Also, Cassandra is way too overpowered. She could have easily killed DP and his team, but she doesn't. Why? And why does she let Juggernaut keep the helmet that can block her powers? If she melted all of Magneto's helmets, why doesn't she do it to Juggernaut's? It's weird for her to leave something that can oppose her power. As Deadpool 2 would say, that's just lazy writing. I also thought that their plan was to wear the helmet so that Cassandra couldn't control them. But DB put it on her. How would that work? She can't send you guys home if she can't use her power. You guys can threaten to kill her if one of you wear the helmet. Why not do that? Anyway, those are the main writing issues I noticed. Besides these bigger problems that impact the story, I also spotted some minor issues. For example, how is the red demon teleport guy from First Class in the Void? Isn't he dead in Days of Future Past? Also, how is Shatterstar alive? I thought DP only saved Peter. Did he save the others as well? And there's no fun credit in the beginning. I was looking forward to that. My biggest minor complaint is that as cool as the fight with Deadpool Corp is, it's completely unnecessary. They have absolutely no reason to go to DP's timeline. Shouldn't they stay in the void if they know Cassandra is going to kill all timelines? And why are they attacking Deadpool and Wolverine? They're Deadpool Corp. Shouldn't they help out another Deadpool? The part with Nightpool is not that funny either. It's way too dragged on and ends up being annoying. I also don't like how they resolve that conflict. The Deadpool stopped attacking because of freaking Peter shows up. What the actual fudge? I thought Peter was fine, but I actually wanted him to stay dead after that scene. The Peter thing is not funny, it's annoying. However, I will admit that my problem with Peter is personal. I can't stand him because his character should have been Hydra Bob. I love Bob and his relationship with Deadpool in the comics. He couldn't be Hydra Bob in the first movie because Hydra belongs to Disney. So I was really looking forward to seeing a comic book accurate Bob in Deadpool and Wolverine. But no, not only did Bob not show up, freaking Peter took his place. Frag you, Peter. It should have been Bob. Anyway, even if I'm not biased because of Bob, it still doesn't change the fact that Deadpool Corp is completely unnecessary and it's just there for references and Easter eggs. The way the movie ends is also predictable, but I don't think that's a problem. The endings for Deadpool 1 and 2 are predictable too, so it's fine. It's just a bit funny that when I saw Deadpool and Wolverine being the conductors together, my first thought was, yep, there it is, the power of two. Yes, that is an Acolyte reference, and no, I have not watched the show. As much as I just complain about the movie, I absolutely love Deadpool and Wolverine. Although there are issues with the story, the movie is so freaking fun, and it's Deadpool kind of fun. I was really worried that Deadpool and Wolverine would be infested by the MCU, but fortunately, DP is still DP, and this movie is its own thing. Most of the cameos and references are related to Fox. The film is only loosely related to the MCU. Honestly, I don't want this Deadpool to join the MCU, especially when the franchise is at a low right now. Deadpool's words, not mine. I just don't think DP fits in, and I was concerned that they would force him into the MCU. But no, DP decides to stay in his timeline, and the film is more of a farewell to Fox's superhero films instead of the dawn of the MCU's X-Men, Fantastic Four, Blade, etc., etc. I'm so happy that I decided to watch most of the X-Men movies before watching this film. It is so much more fun when you recognize the characters and understand the references. Although I haven't watched the Fantastic Four movies, I know Chris Evans played Human Torch before, and when he showed up, I was like, that's definitely Human Torch. There's no way Cap is in the void. Well, it's foreseeable. It's still pretty funny when DP calls him Cap only to find out he's Johnny. I think the way they use cameos is great. Granted, most of the characters are just there so that the audience can go, oh look, I know that guy. But some of them do have some purpose and push the story forward. And even those who are just there to be killed or fight in the big cameo fight, I'm fine with them. The movie doesn't shove it in your face and be like, recognize this guy? Do you like the movie now? Even if you don't know the characters, the movie is still fun and doesn't solely rely on nostalgia in my opinion. I mean, I watched the X-Men movies for the past 3 weeks, so I have absolutely no nostalgia for this stuff. And I don't understand all of the references. I haven't watched Fantastic Four, Blade 3, Daredevil, or Elektra, and I had no idea that there was going to be a Gambit movie starring Channing Tatum. However, I still loved this film and had so much fun watching it, which is why I don't think it just sells nostalgia. Maybe Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't use cameos as well as Spider-Man No Way Home, but it's still certainly better than movies like The Flash, which expects you to like it because of nostalgia. I'm way more forgiving toward Deadpool and Wolverine because, what the heck, this is the end of Fox's X-Men. Might as well get as many cameos as we can. Anyway, the humor and actions in Deadpool and Wolverine are also amazing. I personally think this one is way funnier than Deadpool 2. The movie starts out strong. I didn't know I needed Deadpool dancing to and sings Bye 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 while he kills people with Logan's adamantium skeleton, but turns out I needed that. Although there's no fun credit, that opening scene completely makes up for it. I also love how DP makes fun of Disney and the MCU. The film isn't afraid to point out how annoying multiverse is, how the MCU is at a low right now, and how Deadpool and Wolverine is ironically their savior. I love the joke that Disney is going to make Hugh Jackman play Wolverine till he's 90. It's especially hilarious now that they get RDJ back to play Doctor Doom. Like the first DP movie, Deadpool and Wolverine is extremely self-aware in a good way. Most of the jokes land and it never becomes annoying. As for the actions, most of the fights are not overly CGI'd, just like the first 2 movies. Because the MCU has a reputation for abusing CGIs, I was worried that the same would happen to Deadpool and Wolverine. Fortunately, that's not the case. The fights are still very fun to watch and I don't feel like I'm just watching animation. However, I can't say the same for the special effects. Some effects, like the Time Ripper, feel very MCU and just look fake. Because they're not all over the movie and are only used sparingly, it's tolerable. Also, I watched the movie in IMAX 3D and the 3D effect is freaking amazing. Check it out if you can. Another thing that Deadpool and Wolverine does well is the comic book accurate visuals. Finally, we get comic book accurate Gambit and Wolverine. Gambit gets his full costume and face guard thing. The style is way better than the one we got in Origins. Not to mention Wolverine, we finally get to see him in a yellow suit. It took 24 years for us to get Hugh Jackman in the yellow suit, and it's so worth it. I mentioned in my X-Men trilogy video that considering what they could do during that time, I didn't think yellow spandex would look good on him. I still think so, but man, it's great to see Wolverine wear a yellow suit in live action. It's so much cooler than a leather suit or white tank top. And as much as I find the Deadpool core fight excessive, I can't hate it because it freaking gives us masked Wolverine. When Hugh Jackman pulled on the mask, everyone stopped breathing for a second and then started clapping in the theater. It's so epic. We finally get Wolverine after 24 years. I was completely caught off guard by this because after watching the X-Men movies, I was so used to Wolverine without a mask. I thought the yellow suit was good enough, so I was so surprised and happy when they went all in and did the mask as well. I feel like I would cry if I was an X-Men fan. See, this is how easy it is to please nerds. I'm instantly in love with the movie after that scene, and I'm not even a die-hard X-Men fan. I don't know why it took them this long to recognize this. Speaking of Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine is an awesome return of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. This is as much of a Wolverine film as it is a Deadpool film. Wolverine is very much the emotional center of the movie, and there's more character development for him than there is for DP. We see a disgraced hero who overcomes his guilt and becomes a hero again with the help of friends who believe in him. Although the writing could have been better, I do like how they bring in a new Wolverine instead of reviving Logan. And despite just meeting this new Wolverine for the first time, the audience cares about him. We're curious as to what he did in his timeline, and we want him to be a hero again. Hugh Jackman is just so amazing as Wolverine, and I'm so happy he agrees to do this with Ryan Reynolds, who's a great Deadpool. I'm completely fine with this being the end for both characters. It's one heck of a way to go out. Although some people might disagree with me, I'm relieved that there's no implication for future MCU films with Deadpool and Wolverine. I really don't want them to actually join the MCU. I just think it'd be difficult to balance the style of X-Men and Deadpool with MCU Avengers. I very much prefer Deadpool to be his own thing, like in the comics. That's basically my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. I love it, and I think it's much better than Deadpool 2. It's just fun as heck and doesn't try to do too much. The purpose of this film is just for the audience to have a good time and say goodbye to the Fox films. Despite this being a Deadpool film, I love the serious credit that shows the behind the scenes of the X-Men and Fantastic Four movies. I went on when I saw that, and I would cry if I grew up loving these movies. I'm so happy that I watched most of those movies before seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. It's totally worth it. Despite how unconventional this movie is, it's totally a superhero film. Although I like how low the stakes are for the first two Deadpool movies, I'm okay with the multiverse shattering threat in this one because Deadpool's motivation is still the same. He just wants to save his family, and that's something relatable. However, I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine would revive the superhero genre. It's really a one-off thing and very self-contained. Most of the people who will love this film are probably X-Men fans, not MCU fans. So I don't think it's going to help the MCU as a whole. Personally, I think that's a good thing. I just want a fun movie, which is what Deadpool is all about, and Deadpool and Wolverine delivers. Hope you guys like my review and nails. I'm super happy with my recreation of the friendship heart necklace thing. I use glitter for these two and they're inspired by Marvel sparkles. Lastly, I did my favorite joke from the movie and used DP's text bubble style from the comics. I basically used all of my techniques for this set. I sculpted gel and used my e-file to get the heart shapes for these two, used glitter for these two, and ombre and stamping for this one. I'm considering doing the Fantastic Four movies, Blade, and Daredevil next. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment, share, do what you want. Keep nailing it and go get more special socks, people.